Hello, Gemini, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're having a great day. I hope your new year is getting off to a great start. Let me again wish you Happy New Year. And this will be your weekly reading here for the week of January 4th through the 10th, so the first full week of the new year. We've had a partial week here, and we're coming off of full moon energy. Actually, today, the 4th, will be kind of continuance of that. Sometimes that energy can linger around for a couple of days. And then, of course, we move into the waning gibbous energy. So full moon, of course, is about heightened emotions, and some people can be a little snappy and irritable, or if you're like me, you just have a lot of energy. That's what I tend to go through. But then the waning gibbous, of course, is a really good time for self-reflection and rebirth, a good time for us to make positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking and start to work towards achieving those goals and accomplishments that we've set out to do for this cycle. So pay attention to those moon energies as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Gemini. So as always, please take what resonates today, leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading: a new start is coming. Well, how handy is that? Because here we are at this New Year's juncture and time for new starts. Time to, kick some of those resolutions in and see if we can keep them going. Don't overdo it. Start small. Let's chip away at things. A lot of times some people have just from doing this and this and this, and then a few weeks in, there's just kind of a fail. And I think it's because we all want to do so much and change so many things about our lives. But just remember that each new month brings you that new cycle to work on things. So even if you make a list of 12 things that you'd like to change, this would just start in January with one of those things, right? So as I'm shuffling the cards today, my fun weekly reminder is that you do take time to meditate this week. So try to work that into your routine. If it's not something that you're into doing, maybe that is one thing that you would like to try this year. And if it's not daily, at least try to start a really good weekly meditation session, or even a couple times a week, and try to get it to where you're maybe, if it's working out for you and working for you, you might want to make that part of your daily routine. So even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes that you can get, sometimes longer if you can, if you can find the time. I know we're all very busy, but try to work that into your routine. That's my fun weekly reminder for you. So, okay, Gemini, without further ado, let's get into this reading. January 4th through the 10th. A new start is coming. Okay, your overall present energy right now: Queen of Pentacles. So maybe your new start has something to do with the material world. For some of you, this is, new money coming in, maybe the work situation changing. You're getting raises might be happening, that sort of thing. Some of you might be changing homes. You might be upgrading your house or moving from one place to another, or just making changes in your house. You might just be kind of moving things around and starting fresh, starting anew. I know here I'm thinking about, some painting and some furniture changes that need to be made, just little upgrades, and that's kind of that energy, just something in your material realm, but that's where you are, and it's a new start for you. Your current situation right now is that you have a lot of choices. And isn't that a luxury for you, that you're going to have a new start in your material world and you have choices to do it? I do see having choices like this as a luxury. I tell my kids this all the time, that, the less choices you have, the more limiting your life is. And I do think as as we all mature and go through life, and as you kind of, I don't know, just get to know how the world works and everything, it does kind of expand your choices. You make a little more money, you have a little more choices there. You just have more choices. So that's good. Change is coming, new starts coming in the material realm, and you have lots of choices at your fingertips. At the root of this situation is happy family. 10 of Cups, the happiest card in the deck. So these are good changes. These are changes, positive and good changes that you're making, because you're doing things that make your family happy. So that can't be a bad thing. I love all of that right there. In your recent past is the Death card. So some sort of ending, something has come to an end, and maybe that's why you have this. This is definitely a card of happy endings. But the death card, it can be actual death, and maybe it's making you realize that you do need to change things or do things or have a new start. It could be just the end of something, the end of a cycle for you, the end of learning something. So there's some ending that has come that's brought you to this point where you want to have this new fresh start, and that's a good thing. What is on your mind this week is the Magician. And this is you asking the Magician, all right, I want to make changes. And the Magician says, okay, where do you want to make changes? Are we making emotional changes? Are we making those material world changes? Are we changing things in the passion realm or in the communication realm? Where do you want to make changes? And again, it's a new start. Pick a thing, pick one thing, and just really try to focus on it and really try to change it. If it's inner or outer, try to change that about yourself. Don't try to get too bogged down with all those choices that you have. Try to narrow that choice down and be like, okay, let me focus on this for now. Once you start making changes, it takes, I forget what they say, 21 days to change it, to make a new habit. And just remember, we do have these moon cycles. So each new moon, you can decide, different things that you want to change, both inner and outer, and you can be a whole different person by next year. So keep that in mind. What is just ahead of you, Gemini? Another very happy card in the deck. I love how this reading is coming out, the Sun card. So you're moving into a really, really happy phase. And I think it is this change. I think it's maybe, if you had this cloud of this ending over you, there's something about it that you've learned through, and you are moving through into just a happier time, which I really love for you. I think that's awesome. What is just ahead of you in the advice position is Page of Wands. So go ahead and explore things that are, that kind of drive your passion, that drive your fire, things that excite you, things that get you up in the morning. So the page is about doing those explorations. It's about having new paths in the way, in this case of passion, to go ahead and nurture. Look, he's nurturing these buds, these new interests, and these new ways of being. So I love that as well. This is just turning out to be such an awesome reading. I love when the color moves in the way that it's moving here. All right. What is beyond your control, Gemini? The Tower. So, with endings come abrupt changes as well. So, I don't see this as being a very big negative thing, kind of a bump in the road, maybe, that you're going to have to deal with. Is something, there's some disruption. It's something, you're moving into this great place, this great energy, and there's something that's like, not so fast, let's make a change here. We're going to do this thing in a different way because there's some sort of delay or just something that gets in front of you that changes things just a little bit. But it doesn't mean that you can't continue to have that attitude about a happy family, happy life, moving forward, and just trying to be as happy as you can by nurturing the things that you love. All right. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? I hope this is your secret desire with the 10 of Pentacles, which is definitely, talk about happy family. This is happy family emotionally. This is happy family really on the wealth and the material side. So this is about, making the right investments, making sure that things go on in a generational sense, long after you, that you're setting things up for each generation, right? So that things that you do today will actually affect your grandchildren. So, and that is it's either, like I said, hopefully it's your secret desire. I don't know anyone that's trying to avoid that. But you're building something here, and you're building something, it's more than material, it's emotional. Um, as well, you're passing on things, you're passing on, morals and different things. It could be traditions that you're passing on, and that's really awesome. In your outcome, Gemini, Page of Cups. So definitely, I like to think this is our new path in the emotional front, but I also see that it's just our most lighthearted kind of joker page, that even keeled waters back here. But look, he's got this cup with the fish in it. It's just having a little sense of humor, being able to laugh at the things. And even if it's this disruption, like, you just kind of throw your hands up. Yeah, well, that's life, things happen, right? It's not something that's really going to bog you down all week long. That's the way I see it. What is hidden from you this week at the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Wands. So this is action on your passion front, whatever maybe your passion project or the thing that drives you. It's kind of hidden from you this week. It might be just kind of muted because you're making these decisions. You're doing something again in the material realm, and it might be again, might just be moving furniture around in your house, or maybe you're getting a new car, maybe you're trading your car. So there's something kind of just distracting you from the things that you really do love to do. And it's almost like you're taking care of business. You're just taking care of the things that need to be taken care of. And that's sometimes we all get weeks like that, right? Let's see what the final message here from the Soul Oracle deck, final message for Gemini. And your final message is to quietly serve. And yeah, I do think, again, that's like taking care of business. Sometimes you just got to buckle down. You might have this disruption again that comes in, but I feel like, whatever you're doing, it's not a bad thing that you're doing. It's just that things just need to be taken care of. And something in the material realm that you're kind of just taking care of it because it needs to be taken care of, and it's your job to do so. All right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care for the week. Self-care for Gemini this week. And the card for you is the card that says growth. Evolution starts when you leave your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Awesome. Very interesting. Evolution starts when you leave your comfort zone. So, maybe that's what this magician card is about too. What is it that you do want to change? And is it going to be a little uncomfortable? Of course. Any kind of change that any of us undertake, it's always a little bit uncomfortable, and it gets easier as we go along and do it. So, Gemini, I really hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. I do feel like you've got some changes happening in your material realm this week. Again, it could be house, car, money, finances, something's happening. But here's the magician saying, how do you want to handle this? What do you want to do? How do you want to move forward in a positive way? So you definitely have a lot of different choices. I don't see any swords on the reading at all. And anytime there's a lack of something, kind of makes me think, are you, your card says quietly serve, are you keeping all of these things to yourself when it comes to thoughts? Like there's just no communication. So make sure that you are communicating with someone if you need to, if it's your spouse or, a friend or something that kind of someone to talk some of these things out with, because those swords are totally missing from you on your things. So I feel like a lot of this is internal things that are going on for you. You may just need to reach out and just say to someone and check in and talk about some of this stuff. They may have some information that you need. So once again, Gemini, thank you so much for being here with me. If you are comfortable sharing, if anything in this reading is going on with you, drop a comment, let me know down there if there's something specific. I think it's interesting to know how tarot energy is it's kind of general, but each situation, for some of you, this might be work. For some of them, it could be, or for some of you, it could be like a personal relationship, but those energies kind of transfer in the same way. It's just different situations in which they do. I hope that made any sense at all. But if you drop a comment and share with the other Geminis, it'll be interesting to see, who's going through this new start and what is it for different Geminis, and just to kind of compare those nodes. So anyway, also drop a comment, like I said, if you're comfortable. Also, if you like my reading style, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel, but most of all, it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see if this reading, if this energy here continues, or if there's something completely new here for you. So thank you so much for being here, Gemini, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.